had Thelma, and then you had Michael, and then what it is, what it is, what it is, YouTube, you know what it is. It's your boy, the Moose. Spot. Hey, man, what it is, man. Welcome back to the channel. Hey, man, I want my MTV. Well, we doing a flashback, yo. We doing my top 20 TV shows of all time. I got the clicker. You're not going to see me in this, but you know that I'm here. I'm narrating. Let's go. Now you can see that gone. Let me get it off the screen. Y'all ready? So here we go. Number 20. Okay, so this show, man, I started watching the show from the start when it first came out. This show was my show to watch. And I watched it. And my kids, my granddaughter, I started watching it in 2010. Yes, 2010. My granddaughter was 1. And every time the commercial would show up with the gnome, she would start crying. So I'd have to change and Travelocity would always show that stupid commercial, and I'd have to change it. It seemed like every other commercial was Travelocity with that damn gnome, and I'd have to change it. It was actually on USA. This is the channel that I would watch every day. I'd watch CSI. I watched CSI all the way from the beginning, from Warwick Brown, which is this guy right here. The brother in there, that's Warwick Brown, and then you have Brass, you have Gil Grissom, then you have Kathleen, whatchamacallit, and then you have Texas, and then you have Georgia Fox, which is what was her name? I forgot her name, but anyway, she came in to investigate because what happened is Warwick Brown was going to gamble, and he wasn't watching the person that he was with, shadowing her, and she's new, and she ends up getting killed. So Georgia Fox comes in to do some things, and Gil Grissom finds out that Warwick Brown is gambling and has a problem, and all kinds of stuff happens. But they keep Warwick Brown until season 9 when he gets killed. Now, the song is funny because if this is The Who that sings this song, The Who sang every single song of CSI. So all 3 CSIs, The Who is involved. All right? So that's CSI. The Love Boat. Yeah, buddy. Now I remember this show right here, man. This show was like 1980s. This show is like watching this ship, and Isaac was the bartender, and then you got the doctor and all this other stuff. Hijinks, and they had all kinds of stars come on there and all kinds of stuff, man. The Love Boat is a good show if you like to just watch a good sitcom. This was like one of those best sitcoms because his daughter came on later on down the road when he was the ship captain, and all kinds of stuff happens. All kinds of hijinks happens. Now this one right here is got me. This is what they call the greatest American hero. Now I think this is a 5 seasons or 3 seasons or something like that. But this guy right here, he reminds me of the other. What was his name? He reminds me of Freddy Krueger, that actor. Yeah, Robert Englund. He reminds me of Robert Englund. I always got them mixed up. But this song, actually, if you ever listen to this song, and there's another song that almost duplicates this song. Just a good old boy. Never meaning no harm. All right. I can't go anywhere without having the Duke brothers, man. This show was like the show. You know, when you're a kid, and I'll tell you about that in a second. When you're a kid, you want to jump. And that's and we were back in the Evel Knievel days, okay? So if you're just back in the 80s and early 70s and 80s, we did everything on our bicycles. We would actually put ramps up on tires and all kinds of stuff to see how far. And our friends would get on the ground, and we would try to jump over them and jump as far as we could to miss them. And guess what? Our friends were loyal and relevant, because guess what? It was my turn next to get on that ground and do that. But this show and Evel Knievel didn't help us boys, because that's what we did back. We tried to build the biggest, fattest ramps and try to go high in the air as much as we could. Have you ever seen that movie Hot Rod? That basically is us.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows.
Next we have I Want to Go Everywhere, Everybody Goes My Name. Cheers. Now this song, this show there's another good sitcom. If you liked it, that you're basically the atmosphere was the bartender, and as you could see, this was basically it. Now, the funny thing about it is these two people, the woman in red and the guy in blue with the stripes, they changed out and they put two different people in there. But all the other people stayed. But they changed those people over time. But this is like the first picture.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor.
All right. So now we go to the land of make believe, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Now this was PBS right here, but this was PBS at its finest. When I watched PBS, I watched Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was the bomb. It was like something a kid could actually watch it, but what took the cake was when he and the mailman had the pool of water. It blew everybody up. It enraged, it made people mad. It made so many people mad because he, Mr. Rogers, is a minister, and he had this show. But what he did was the unthinkable. At the time that he did what he did with the pool, was he had a brother in there, and they took off their shoes and socks, and they put their feet in the same pool. But back then, you could not, literally could not, or a brother and another brother from another mother in the pool together. So he basically broke the mold on everything. He made everything. Now, Stan Lee and him, they just destroyed everything when it comes to that narrative. Y'all know, if you know, you know. Leave a comment below what Stan Lee did to break the mold, and I'll see if it's right, because there's one thing that he did.
Space, the final frontier.
Now, this show right here is crazy, because the first episode, if you ever watched the first episode, Captain Pike. Now, just remember this. Captain Pike was the originator of Star Trek, right? But Captain Kirk came in the second episode. I kid you not. The second episode. And when he did, that's when they came up with this. The first episode, they didn't have this. The first episode, they just had the music. They didn't put Captain Kirk's tone in there, because Captain Kirk, William Shatner, didn't come in till later. And then later on, Spock does Space, the Final Frontier. But that's what this, and that's the whole song. But it's one of those songs that you wait to listen for, because you went from You went in time travel. You did an Elon, and you went into space, and thank God William Shatner did go to space. So he said he's been there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Samia.
All right. Now, this, well, no. I didn't want to go that far yet. This is Laverne and Shirley. Now, Laverne and Shirley was a spinoff of the Happy Days. And if you ever watch this show, it's cute because they had Laverne, they had Shirley, they had Carmichael, they had Lenny and Squiggy. Now, Lenny and Squiggy actually was in the movie Willow. If you ever saw the movie of Willow, they actually brought him on Willow, which was really cool. It's a really cool TV movie. It was a really cool movie by Disney. It was about a midget and all that kind of stuff. Well, I was just a little person. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that word. But anyway, that's what that was. But anyway, that was the movie was kind of like the thing of it. But this actually is a good TV show. If you ever watch it, they start in a brewery, and that's pretty much. Green Acres. Now this show is pretty cool too, because this is like he's a lawyer, and her mom's rich, she's rich, he's rich, they're all rich. But he says, you know what? I want to go somewhere. I'm tired of this high living. Let's go live in the slums. He ends up getting a house. Now, he's got money, but he ends up getting this house that's like deformative and all kinds of stuff, and everything kinds of happens with this house. But it's too funny. You have to watch the TV show from the beginning to understand why it's too funny.
Thank you for being a friend.
And then we have the gals. This show, man, Sophia, the old lady, is the youngest one of the crew, believe it or not. Estelle Getty is actually the youngest of all four of them, but she plays Ma, and she's the older one. But yet she's the youngest of the crew, which a lot of people don't know. Yeah. And then, as we all know, that Dorothy is, yeah. Well, she passed away yeah. But anyway, so Dorothy was yeah. So anyway, Dorothy's and we won't get into that, man. But anyway, so Estelle Getty's the oldest lady in Dorothy, and then you have Blanche, and then you have the other lady, what was her name? Yeah.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days.
Now this is the show that kicked off Laverne and Shirley because of and the deal is that, and this is how it all fits together, is Fonzarelli was Laverne's boyfriend. So that's how that kicks into play. Laverne comes on the show and becomes Fonzie's gal and all kinds of stuff with the L and all that other stuff, and Shirley gets involved and all that other stuff. So that's how that spinoff comes, because Laverne is Fonzie's girlfriend, and that's how that show started out. But this is Happy Days. You have Richie Cunningham's, you have the Cunninghams, and you have Fonzie, and then you have Ralph the Mouth and all that other good stuff, man. So, and then you have, actually, you have two different Als. Well, actually, it was Al, and it was the other guy. Al was the big heavyset guy, and then we all know that the Karate Kid guy came in later and took over the restaurant that they all hung out at. Usually it was the restaurant or their house, but the restaurant more than anything.
Just sit right back and you hear a tale of a...
And then let's just sit right back and hear a tale of a fateful trip. Gilligan's Island. Now this was a black and white at the beginning, then turned color. So Gilligan was a mess. Gilligan was a mess. All kinds of hijinks happened. They were trying to get off the island, and they had chances to get off the island. Well, it's just too funny. You have to watch the show to understand. You have like this millionaire and his wife, and you got the scientist, and then you have, yeah, it's just like an actress, two actresses, and all kinds of crazy stuff happened. And then you have this guy. And then this show, man. Now, I'm going to tell you something about this one. This show took the cake and crumbled everything. Because it's, I mean, you got to watch this show from the beginning to understand what I'm talking about. Because when it first started, the trailer changed, the beginning, the intro changed later on as it went. So season 1 was different from season 2 to season 3. I think it was season 5 or something like that. They went 5 seasons. But this show, Jim Carrey, man, he played all kinds of characters. And then you have Homie Don't Play That, which is the clown right there. And then you have Blaine and Antoine Merriweather. And then you have all the other kooky characters. And then you have the restaurant. That's one of my favorites. But anyways, so that's pretty much that show. And this show was tough because they always had acts and stuff like that went on there. And then we have Three's Company with John Ritter. R.I.P. John Ritter, man. He was a man. He was a good actor. And I wish he was still alive because he was a good actor. I got to give him that. He was a good actor. And then, okay, so the thing about this is Joyce DeWitt stayed with John Ritter. And then later on, Suzanne Summers left and the other one came. So Suzanne Summers left and then the other one came. So they didn't stick with the same cast. The cast was switched over through I forgot who replaced Suzanne Summers, but Suzanne Summers left and then somebody else came in. And
Now this is a story all about how my
then you have Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Now I gotta give it this one. This was like the TV show to watch because here it is. You get this guy, you get Fresh Prince. He comes to Bel-Air. He comes to Hollywood, California, and he's from Philly, so he doesn't fit in to the narrative of being rich because he's poor. So he comes into this thing and all kinds of hijinks. Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff. Jazzy Jeff made the show, man. He's always getting thrown out by Philip Drummond. I'm not Philip Drummond, sorry, that's the other show. He's always getting thrown out. I'm thinking of the other one coming up. But he's always getting thrown out by the dad. Yeah. And then Jeffrey, the butler. But Carlton stole the show. I got to give Carlton it, man. Him and that dance, man. That was do the Carlton.
Here's the story of a lovely lady.
All right, now this is the story of a lovely lady, and she had 3 girls, and then you had Brady come in and all that. Tiger ruins the wedding, and all kinds of shit happens. This show is this show is pretty good though. The theme song was really, really good.
Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum.
And then you have Philip Drummond. This is Philip Drummond adopts. Okay, so the storyline behind this is he had a maid that passed away, and he took the maid's sons on. And so that's where this comes in. So he took the maid's sons on and adopted them, and then Kimberly is the girl behind. So that's this show. And Mr. T comes in there, and they get Knight Rider. They got all kinds of stuff going on there.
From Television City in Hollywood.
Okay, so then the next one is Good Times. Now, this show was really good because, and I'll talk about this for a second. So you had James, you had Junior, then you had Esther Rollo, which basically was I forgot. Give me a second. Okay, so and then you had Winona Woods, then you had Thelma, and then you had Michael, and then you had Mom. Okay, so the deal with this is that it was supposed to be the deal was it was supposed to be a family in struggle in Chicago in the ghetto. Okay, and if you ever watched the show, the first 3 seasons was going good, but then all of a sudden James left. He went to Mississippi, and they killed him off the show. What happened is James was tired of, believe it or not, he was tired of Junior, because Junior came in and stole the show with Dynamite. That wasn't part of the script, but that stole the show. Him saying Dynamite. He said Dynamite so many times, but that was it. That was what happened. But he started it, and that was just like one of those things. But people wanted to see the hijinks of Junior. He joins the gangs, all kinds of stuff happens. Just basically what happens when you're living in the projects and in the ghetto and all that other stuff. But that's pretty much the show. Now, remember Winona Woods, which is basically Janet Dubois, right? Remember her name.
Boy, the way Glenn Miller played. So unstanding.
Then you have this show. Now this show is crazy because here you go. This right here is All in the Family, if y'all don't know. And Carol O'Connor with Gene Stapleton, and you had Rob Reiner, and you had Sally Struthers. These 4 made the show happen. Now, Archie, basically, to set the stage, is racist. But he meets his match later on. He gets kissed by Sammy Davis Jr. comes in and kisses him on the cheek, and he goes crazy. But it's just, you got to watch the show to understand it, man. You have to watch the show. And his neighbors actually is Lionel and Mr. Jefferson. And we're going to get into, so Jefferson's was a spinoff in All in the Family, because this is like when a brother moves into pretty much a dominant white neighborhood. Now, the Jeffersons own a cleaner and the cleaners, and that's how they end up getting into this. Then they move from there, and then they go to the high rise in the sky, and you'll understand that when you play the theme song or the next song. Now, this is the Jeffersons. Now, this show takes the cake, because here you go. You have Archie Bunker, right? You have Archie Bunker's racist. Now you have George Jefferson's racist. Now, they did actually in All in the Family, they came together, but they only put Jefferson in there a couple times, but his brother showed up most of the time. Just to show you that. They didn't put Jefferson in there a lot. Now, whatchamacallit, she came in there all the time, and you saw Ma in there all the time. But here you go, you got this crew. Here you got Bentley, and then you have Lionel's girlfriend's parents, and then you have the butler. Well, not the butler, but you have the guy that the doorman, which was pretty cool, and then you had the maid, which the maid stole the show. You gotta admit the maid stole the show, and so did Bentley when he came over there. But him and Tom would go at it, neck and neck, because they're both. Tom even said some words in there, but he kept on calling him honky, and Tom got mad and finally used that word. He went there, and it was crazy. Y'all know that word, right? That's what Tom said on one of the shows, and it just like sent George crazy. But this show, man, this show was great. This is like it's number one because Janice Dubois, Winona Woods, sang this theme song. And that's why number one and number two and number three are where they're at because of this. Now, y'all don't know that I have one of my most favorite people in anything. Now, here it is.
Old Dan Tucker was fine old man. What's his face? Face in a...
Mr. Edwards. You gotta have a show with old Dan Tucker. So, if y'all not familiar with the show, this show was actually called Little House on the Prairie. And Little House on the Prairie was a family that moved from the big woods to find a home. Well, they ended up going to Kansas first. And when they went to Kansas, they settled on some land. And a lot of things happened. Well, that's where they met Mr. Edwards was met at the bar. That's where they never showed where they met. They just he just came home he just came to the cabin that they were going to build. They were going to build the homestead, and that's where Mr. Edwards came in and to help them build the cabin. Now the funny thing is Mr. Edwards had a habit. He liked to chew snuff, but one of the habits was he showed Laura, the girl, which that's, if y'all know, Laura Ingalls Wilder is actually the maker of Little House on the Prairie. She wrote the books a long time ago, and Charles Ingalls, which happens to be, anyways, I'll just stick with his name there. So, and you can get in more history, but Mr. Edwards came on, and he's a character because he showed Laura how to spit. But that's not what stole the show. What stole the show, now Mom did not like that he showed Laura how to spit. Well, what took the cake and he won her heart was Christmas. It was a 2-hour episode, so they put Christmas in that 2-hour episode, and he comes in, and it's funny because they're still out there in Kansas. They end up coming back. They end up going to Walnut Grove in Minnesota, but he ends up going over there with them. So he ends up in there, but the thing that stole the show is he came in his unders, his red underwear, his long underwear, like JJ always had a long underwear, the red long underwear. He came in the red long underwear. He had his clothes with him, but he had gifts that he brought the girls. But the funny thing about it was she even had some potatoes for her to cook. I think it is a couple potatoes. But anyways, this actually, to be honest with you, this is one of the episodes where he actually has the letter. Now, this letter he sent to himself to get the postal woman, Grace, to fall for him because he's trying to make her jealous. So he sent a letter. He can't write. he don't know how to read or write. But he sent this letter to himself. He had somebody do the envelope, but he sent the letter to himself. He actually paid. Look, he found the mail carrier on the way and told him, I'll give you a penny if you send this mail. And the guy's like, are you kidding me? We're in Walnut Grove now. And he's like, no, I want you to take this to the post office. So he takes it to the post. He ends up getting mail, and he put some perfume on there to get the woman jealous. But anyways, so this show right here, Dan Tucker, was not even written in the script, but it was only mentioned in Laura's book once, and that's why this song. It's a 17 something. It was written in 1700s. So this song is like very old, but this is one of my favorite songs. Old Dan Tucker was a fine old man, washed his face in a frying pan. He combed his hair with a wagon wheel. He died of toothache in his heel. Get it out of the way, old Dan Tucker. He's too late to get his supper. Supper's over and the dishes washed. Nothing left but a piece of squash. And he doesn't ever finish the song. But anyways, so that's what I got for these videos. So let me know in the comment below what you think of this. Now, I kind of like this show. I kind of like this one. It's taken me forever to do this video. So I hope y'all watch it. And with this, I'm out. Oh, man, I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and leave a comment below. Go ahead and share this video. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and ring that trusty bell for more notifications from videos like this and countless others. Smash that like button. And check out one of these videos right down here. And deuces, baby.